Hello, Biali, Wali. Welcome to Native Ways to College. So we have a series on Journey to College. So I want to welcome everyone to Balance Bond, Nurturing Self-Care and Connection to Others. So I'm just going to introduce myself. No toca Robyn Gomez, Newa, Chicana Huichol. So hello and welcome. My name is Robyn Gomez. My pronouns are she, her. I am Huichol and Chicana. I'm a wellness provider with Indigenous Circle Wellness, and I'll be facilitating today's discussion. So I'm currently Zooming from the village of Pasinga that's on Tatavian territory, and I'm just really honored to be a guest on these homelands. And, I also want to acknowledge and thank our Tongva, Tatavian, Chumash relations, whose ancestral land we reside, gather, and pray. We honor all our ancestors and their descendants here today and the contributions of all our relatives, past, present, and future. So with that being said, let's introduce who's with us today, who's going to be participating in our discussion. So please, if you could share your name and maybe how things are going today for you.
Yeah, I can share. My name is Sabrina Rigor. I am the college advisor at Native Ways to College. I am an enrolled member of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa, and today has been busy, but can't complain because the sun is out, and yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Lucia here. So today I echo Spring's thoughts, has been busy, but it's good busy, it's good work, and just taking care of family, taking care of house things, and it's lovely to join you guys also this afternoon. It's really important discussion. How do we keep balance of ourselves in order to show up into what we're doing, whether that's in your place of work, and in this case for college, and how do you best show up of your education. So thank you Robyn, for hosting us today, and I'll hand it off to the next person. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Kylee. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the clinical director at the Indigenous Circle of Wellness. Today has been kind of big for me as well, I guess, echoing that same sentiment. A lot kind of going on. Probably you can hear in my background, my kids playing too. So sorry for any, but happy to be here and discuss about self-care, about balance, and kind of just trying to figure out life as well.
Yeah, thank you so much to everyone. And yes, to all our relatives and all our students. We know that we hope that you really enjoyed this recording, or that this recording comes to you in a time where you're just feeling, I need a sense of grounding. So why don't we just start with something like just acknowledging our breath, right? So when we think about connecting to ourselves, there's something that we connect to our bodies, right? So when we first come out of the womb, we know that we have the connection to the heartbeat, to the water, and then we take that first breath, right? Right? But a lot of the times we have this connection and we don't even realize what we're doing because we're busy. We're busy, right? So I really just invite us, right? So think about your favorite food. How does our bellies get when we eat our favorite food? It gets nice and big like a balloon. So we just want to push our tummies out. So we're just going to start with the breath and just ready. Go ahead and join me. And I invite you. 1, 2, 3, take that breath. Push that belly out. We're going to hold it. And then, right, just acknowledging our breath, our sacred breath, acknowledging the present, right? Just thanking our ancestors, the ones that came before us, right? And just one more breath, right? Because one day we will be those ancestors, right? We're gonna be those little breaths for ourselves. So again, I just want to say thank you again for being here. So just curious, right? When we think of self-care, what does that mean? What does that look like for us? So I'm curious, when you think of self-care, what comes to mind?
I always think of like reading a book or taking time for
Mhm.
yourself, trying to get some exercise, things like that.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I was about to say reading a book as well, but
Mhm.
taking time to decompress usually
Mhm.
can be a day out at the beach, hiking,
Mhm.
taking time to get a juice cleanse in, that
Mhm.
usually alone time and making sure that I'm eating healthier if I have not. That's usually it for me.
Absolutely. Food is so crucial, right? So when we think of self-care, a lot of the times people think of these very grand gesture things, right? But yes, thank you so much. Reading a book, going to the mountains, eating good food. How about for you, Kylie? What does self-care look like?
I've really been challenging myself lately with self-care. So, I actually just started jujitsu, and
Ooh.
I've also added in like stand sit riser for my desk to get a walking pad so I can walk while working. And so for me, it looks like moving my body, challenging myself just a little bit more than kind of sitting and being sedentary.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love all these discussions that we're thinking about, right? About what self-care looks like. Here's the thing, self-care is going to look different for everybody. For some people, it's going to be a little bit of solitude, right? Maybe just curl up with a book, maybe without any noise, maybe reading a book for fun. I know as a college student, I did a lot of reading and I found myself like, oh yeah, I'm going to read that book later. I'm going to read that book later. One of the great things nowadays is we have a lot of audiobooks, right? So that's pretty neat. So, one of the things that I think is also really neat is that as we start to think about our self-care and our needs, is that sometimes we need that solitude and sometimes we want to be in community. So that means sometimes we want to be out or we want to be out in nature. But regardless of what self-care looks like, it is really about decompressing and being able to ground ourselves, right? And also, I invite us to think about our basic needs, right? So, what would basic needs look like? When we think of basic needs, I know, Lucia, you talked about food, right? But what are some other basic needs that sometimes as a college student, we get busy or we get in the grind and the busy class, one class and running? What are some of our basic needs?
Yeah, I think sleep and sleep deprivation is real. um
Mhm.
in college, unfortunately. So definitely getting in your 8 hours of sleep, taking naps where possible. That's
Mhm.
important.
Yeah. Another one too, the hydration, water intake. I tend to
Uh,
forget that even now in my like career and stuff. So I know
mhm.
that was also a struggle for me when I was in my college time. So definitely thinking about water intake too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was gonna say something that seems pretty like you would just know to do it, but getting sunlight. A lot of my friends and I had vitamin D deficiency in college because we just weren't going outside. We are just in front of the computer all day. So just reminding yourself to get that 30 minutes of sun every day.
Yes, right. Get that sun, get the natural light. So when we think about our basic needs, because nowadays there's a lot of distraction, a lot of technology, I feel like especially when we're in urban areas, when we think some colleges are more based in urban areas and some are more like in the forest and there's a lot of greenery and there's a lot of, even some of them are close to the ocean, right? So when you're thinking about the college that you're on, thinking about the environment that you're in, I really invite you just to kind of think about, right? What are some things that nurtures me, that helps me? And we need to start with the basic needs. So really just kind of thinking about just the general things, right? Like sleep. Sleep is so important as a college student, right? So I don't know if you all know this, but did you know that one of the indicators that makes someone a really great student is sleep? Yeah. So I also invite you, right? So some of the college students, if you ever need to do a research paper, research on sleep. Sleep is like sleep deprivation is real. Think about when we're gaming or we're scrolling, right? And then we're like, oh, 5 more minutes. Oh, it's okay. Tomorrow will be fine. Or I'll catch up on my sleep. So what that does is that actually messes with our biorhythm. So our ancestors, we used to rise with the sun, and when the sun would set, it was time to go indoors because we knew it was time to rest. So we were very big on working really hard, but also on resting. So when the sun went down, we knew we would go into our homes and it was time to rest because tomorrow was another day of hard work. So as you're in your environments, whether you're at your college or you're at your home, because some of you might be commuting to your schools and might not actually be living on campus. But regardless of what you do, I really invite you to prioritize your sleep, research sleep, because sleep is a great indicator on also your success and also memorization when you memorize things. So when we cram for something last minute, what do you think happens 3 weeks later or even 6 months later? Do you think we're going to retain all that information?
Nope, I don't think it sticks. Maybe even barely lasts to test day.
Yeah, maybe, right? And for some of our relatives, they're really good. They see it once and they memorize it. What's wonderful. I wish I had your gifts and talents. I don't have that. So for some of us, right, really sleeping and taking it in and memorization or just doing small things. And what I mean by small bits is like studying by small bits, like taking in that information. This will also help us with the consistency and also with that part of our brain to kind of memorize this information. So sleep is huge and one of the things that we need, right? We also talked about water, right? So water is so crucial and important. We need water. And for a lot of us, we forget to drink water, right? So I invite you, if you have a water bottle or if you have water near you, just to take that water, right? We can take a deep breath and just thank the water, right? Thank you, water, right? Thank you. And just drink that and nourish our bodies. What a gift, right? What a way to slow down. What a way to nurture ourselves. Right? And then we also talked about eating, right? So who eats on the run? Who's been guilty of eating on the run? Right? We're all guilty of it. But this is why it's so important also when we all gather together and share a meal together, because when we're able to share a meal together, we put away our devices, we put away our work, and we actually get to engage and really just enjoy the foods and those celebrations for what they might be. So again, when we think about some basic needs, we're really thinking about sleep, we're talking about water, we're talking about connecting to our breath. We're also thinking about nourishing our food with good water. With good food. So yeah. What is another basic need that we tend to forget a lot?
I'm
Trying to-
thinking connection.
Mhm. How about going to the bathroom?
Yeah,
We
that's
hold
important.
it in sometimes.
Yeah, there's that too.
A lot of times we will hold it in. So do ourselves a favor. Another way that we take care of our needs, go to the bathroom when you need to go. One of the greatest things is that when you're in college, you know, typically you would want to go before class or after. But one of the nice things is you can get up and you can go when you need to. You don't have to wait like when we were in high school or maybe middle school, where we would have to wait and do the dance. And the reason I say that is that what starts to happen is when we hold it in or we do the dance or we're like, okay, let me finish this one paragraph, let me finish this. It's not allowing us to really concentrate. Um, and then we start to kind of suppress our needs. So what starts to happen when we start to suppress our needs? Like eating, going to the bathroom, sleeping, not drinking enough water. What starts to happen?
Take a wild guess. Probably can't focus. You're
Mhm.
not eating, you get hangry. Like some of us.
Mhm. That's real. That is so real. Okay, we get hangry. Anything else? We can't focus.
Increased risk for different like medical things like UTIs and
Mhm.
um if we're not getting our cues and our signals or ignoring them, we start to suppress them. Maybe we don't have them really that much anymore. So that can
Mhm.
cause other problems too.
Yeah. So we start to kind of disconnect from ourselves, right? And when we're disconnected from ourselves, that is also impacted how we connect to others. So really the invitation and really for today is that sometimes taking care of our most basic needs, like going to the restroom, taking a nap, sleeping, eating, drinking water, these little things that we do, we're doing them for ourselves. And when we're healthy and we're feeling good, then I'm going to be able to receive you, right? Because if I don't feel good, right, then it's going to be very hard for me to actually receive you. I'm not going to be able to be present with you. I'm going to be distracted. I'm going to be looking at other things. I'm going to be, oh my God, I have to do that. Like, we're not going to be fully present. And when we're not fully present with each other, then our connections and our bonds actually start to deteriorate or they can have long lasting impacts. And what we mean by long lasting impacts is that sometimes we have so much going on in our mind and we don't know how to say, I'm stressed out or I'm frustrated. And then we yell at someone and then we say something we don't mean. And then later we just forget because we got to keep going and we're on what's called survival mode because there's so much stress around us. Any thoughts or reflections on this?
Yeah, I think part of it is you touched on a really important point here, which is being on survival mode, which
Mhm.
potentially I think that college students, unfortunately, because of how grueling it is just in terms of time management, right? Especially if you're
Mhm.
going to be taking care of yourself, perhaps living independently, right? And just being in a different environment, meeting new people, because of how stressful it can be, right? It puts you in that survival mode, right? And
Mhm.
thank you, Robyn, for for bringing that. Piece. That is that is real. That is very much real. And
Mhm.
perhaps you may say something where you react in such a way that it's like your processes of growing out of those things, right?
Mhm.
But also understanding, hey, this environment is not the most constructive towards me being or reacting and acting,
Mhm.
thoughtfully, perhaps. That's
Mhm.
that's one thing that I think is important to know, that survival mode creates these almost barriers in how you interact with other folks.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I just want to acknowledge, we do have a parent and a student here, Dulcinea and Currencia are joining us this afternoon. Thank you.
Hi, you're welcome to join our discussion. Please put in the chat if you'd like to join our discussion or if you want to just kind of listen in. Please let Lucia know. Unfortunately, because the way I have my Zoom, I'm not able to read the chat. So so I appreciate but I invite you if you'd like to join the discussion, and that also this is also being recorded as well. But yeah, I'm just wondering if there was any other thoughts or reflections that came up as we were talking about taking care of our basic needs, right? But sometimes we tend to neglect, we get hangry, we get distracted. Sometimes we say things that we don't mean, we're in survival mode. And, you know, then it starts to impact those relationships, those bonds that we have with others and with ourselves, really. So yes, one of the biggest realities about being in college is that a lot of the times it's gonna feel like we're on survival mode. So just a fun fact, just wondering, not all stress is bad. When we're learning something new, our brain is kind of like stretching. And what tends to happen is we have this amazing thing in our brain called neuroplasticity. So when we're learning new skills, we're building new neurons and we're stretching our brain a little bit. So because we're doing that and we're learning a new skill, it becomes stressful. So sometimes we'll have like headaches, or sometimes like our hands will hurt, or we'll kind of like tap, like to calm ourselves down, right? Or we feel like we have to tap something or grab something or fidget with something as a way to self-soothe, because these are signs of stress. So have you all ever wondered why we get so tired after a training all day, or when you come home from school, right? We're just tired. Have you ever wondered why we're tired?
Yeah, definitely. I think we do.
Yeah, and a big part of that is because our brain is just on overdrive. So by the time we get back, our brain is using so much of its muscle and so much of its energy that we need to replenish. So remember that, our ancestors, right? We used to work a lot with our hands and we used to do a lot of movement. But nowadays, we're using a lot of our minds and we're typing. We're now sitting a little bit more. We're on computer devices a lot. So our eyes also need like good rest, right? Like a little break. And think about when we take breaks, what do we all do? We open up our apps, right? And we look at the apps as a way of relaxation, but actually what we're doing is we're actually stimulating our brain a little bit more. So even if we just took out something as very simple as, before I go to open my apps, I take a deep breath and I thank the water, right? Take a breath and then go into my app, right? Maybe we go for a walk, or I know that I have to walk across campus, or I have to drive across campus, right? There are different things that we can do to support our thoughts, things that we love, connecting to those physically, and then also the spiritual in connecting to these. So as we start to transition, I'm going to ask for some ideas, right? So what are some ideas that we can do? What are some things that we can do, right? We know that we got to take care of our basic needs, right? Because when I'm good, then I can show up for others, And it's not selfish. It's not selfish to think like, oh, let me drink a little bit of water, let me take a breath before I receive you. Think about when we go to ceremony, right? Everyone has a position or a job to do, but they take care of themselves, right? Like we see people smudging themselves and then they smudge others. Or we see people taking care, but they're doing something to prepare the medicine, to prepare the pathway, to prepare to receive. So as we think about when we're going into our classrooms as a way of what can I do to prepare myself to receive? What can I do to prepare myself so I can receive you, so I can receive the connection? So it has to start with the connection to ourselves. And we can do something as very simple as taking a breath, as getting good sleep. And I'm going to be honest, you're going to have fun and you're allowed to have fun and you're going to sacrifice your sleep. That's okay. we could focus on our sleep like another day. But these little things that we can do are really intentional. So when we start walking intentional, we start doing these things a little more intentional, then we're able to receive intentionally as well. So with that being said, what are some things that we can do physically? What are some physical things that we can do to take care of ourselves physically?
One thing I noticed for myself was like I need movement, but
Mhm.
I tend to go for like convenience, right? So it's like every once in a while, I won't mind parking a little bit further back in the parking lot so that I have to take those extra steps or like get a little bit of walk in, right? Like, or instead of going and moving the car, like, oh, it's not that far, let me just walk instead. And so, kind of having those ways of getting movement, being out in the fresh air, getting the sunlight, like, I feel like all of that kind of impacts and changes too.
Absolutely. I love that. If we're commuting, walking a little further, right, to get that movement, that walkment, that's great. Any other ideas of what we can do to get more movement in?
I know for me personally, it's during my lunch break. I know that I have like this window of opportunity. So just checking out the neighborhoods and walking around and um, I know that that sets me up for the rest of the day to be more productive, to be more alert and things like that. And also you can check out a new community or places that you haven't explored or things like that. So I really like I really like doing that.
Absolutely. That's exciting. And also, if you're commuting, you could take a new route home, right? Absolutely. Yeah. Lucia, do you have any idea?
I was gonna say sometimes with commuting, you don't have a choice. You gotta do it anyway because of the LA traffic.
Mm-hmm.
You got a choice, so you might as well make it fun, make it interesting. Um, something that I've recently taken up is in the morning time, and just because life is busy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
getting in meditation and yoga movement
Mm-hmm.
in the morning, like before anything else.
Mm-hmm.
The day for 30 minutes, um I think it helps. I think it helps, and like Kylie and Sabrina said, it's important just to give that to yourself, um time for you before you connect with other people as you're just in your energy. Just think
Absolutely.
important.
Yeah. What a beautiful way to start the day, right? With just stretching, right? Just putting out those intentions, whether we're putting our prayers, we're smudging. One of the ways that I like to rise in the morning is just to give those intentions and my prayers for the day. And just really sit with that and do a little bit of like, okay, this is what I can do today. This is where I'm at, and learning to be really gentle with myself. And what I mean by learning to be gentle with myself is that we're not always going to do all the things that we're going to come up with. And that's okay. It's just learning how to be kind to ourselves, because when we're kind to ourselves, then I can be kind to my other relatives and I can be a good relative. Because then I know how to have that compassion for them and compassion for myself. Like, yes, how about dancing? Anybody like to dance? Right? We can two-step, right? When we're on the commute, putting on the music, right? Listen to that good music, right? Even when we're getting ready, we can dance, right? We can have a little dance party, right? So there's different ways that we can include movement. If we think about it every day, even if it's not the way we think, this is how I want my self-care, we are moving every day. This is movement right now, right? Getting up and going to the bathroom is movement. Getting up and eating is movement. Getting a cup of water is movement. So we are moving our bodies. So keep in mind that those are some things that we can do, and we're noticing that I am moving my body. When we're taking sacred breath, we are moving our bodies as well. So yeah, these are great. How about things to support our thoughts? What can support our thoughts? So we talked a little bit about physical. Let's talk about mental. What can support my thoughts? What are some things that can support our thoughts? No ideas?
I'm not too sure.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just me, but going outdoors. But
Mm-hmm.
mine, but I mean, I feel like there's another answer to this.
No, that's okay. Being out, think about what being outdoors represents for you, right? So just a gentle reminder that there is no right or wrong way of how we're looking at things, right? Because a gentle reminder too is, I think one of the things that we tend to forget a lot is that one of the constant things in our life is the 4 seasons that we have, right? So we know we have spring, summer, fall, and winter. But as we grow, sometimes every season is very different. And in our lives, we're going to have different seasons. So maybe my practice was yoga and I was able to do all this, and then I get a new job or I get a new responsibility, right? And then that's going to shift my season. So as my season shifts, then I need to incorporate a new practice. So if that's what's connecting you, right, by just going outside, that's a beautiful thing. Yes, thank you. We also got affirmations. Yes, affirmations are a great thing, right? By the way, I'm not endorsing an app, but there's an app I like to use for free. It's called I Am. I'll just text you. It sends you great affirmations all day. And sometimes there's been times where I just really needed that affirmation. I'm like, wow, creator's really looking out for me. So I invite you all. I always use the free version. I'm not endorsing, it's not a paid sponsorship. I just really like this app. It's really neat. Kylee, you have some ideas about what can support our thoughts?
Yes. So I had two actually different ways. And one is kind of like doing internal or like journaling or just kind of thought processing in that way, or taking inventory, like what am I thinking, how did the day go for me, kind of if different journal prompts or whatnot too. And then the second one was a little bit more like connection based and thinking about joining either peer groups or having time with peers, because I know too, like with on the college campuses, like as commuters, sometimes you feel like an outsider, like you don't fit in. So connecting with your peers can help like bring on some of those feelings of being connected, of feeling better, tied. And then also too, like if you are living on campus, maybe you feel disconnected from like your family or your community because now you're not living there anymore. So making new connections can also kind of like bring about some of those different thoughts and stuff too.
Absolutely, right? The things that support our thoughts. So just a gentle reminder, when we started our talk today, we talked about reading. Reading supports our thoughts, right? So reading affirmations, going back and maybe reading our stories of creation, right? Or maybe reconnecting to some of those oral traditions or those stories are also great ways to support our thoughts. What about things we love? What about things that make us feel good, right? What are some things that just make us feel good? So I open it up in the space. What are some things that just make us feel good? The things that make us feel good is how we're supporting our emotional well-being. So what are some things that make you feel good?
Not gonna lie, the first thing that came to my mind was boba.
Yes, I love it. Okay, I'm here with the boba, even though it's very sugary, but I'm all for it. Yes, sweet. I love it. Music, it's a great one. Spending time with our pets, with our loved ones, hugs, right? Sleep. Sometimes that's what we need. We just want sleep. So those are all good things, right? But yes, these are very, very lovely things. Yes, a spa day. Yes, those are always nice. Gentle reminder, we can create our own spa days at home. Okay, we grab some eucalyptus, we tie it, we can get some, essential oils, we put the steam, right? We can get those nice sea salts, right? I know some of you all have some sea salt, some honey, or maybe, some brown sugar, right? Make yourself a nice little scrub all that off. See, we made our own little day spa from home. Maybe another topic we could do is spa on a budget. Okay, so
Love to.
all right. What about connection, community, right? What about community? What are some things that we can do to connect to community or spiritual? How can we uplift and bring ourselves into our spiritual? How can we bring this in? What are some ideas that we can share with our students? What does it look like for you all to feel connected or to have a spiritual practice?
I think definitely connecting, whether it's in circles or ceremony
Mhm.
folks, um, even
Yeah.
just spending a few minutes, it doesn't have to be, an important date.
Mhm.
That's always significant for me. And just being able to just talk, like you said, platica,
Mhm.
that's always been really the way that I connect with elders, with aunties, connecting that way.
Mhm.
Um, and sometimes honestly, I think food is such a central piece of it. Because we give to each other, through food. It's one way that I give to each other.
Mhm.
Connect community to us, whether it's here or, at home.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else like to share? That's beautiful. Thank you.
I'm very much in the crew that out of sight, out of mind type thing. So I need like visual, tangible reminders. So like even having a space for things like my medicine, or like keychains that mean something special to me or gifts that were given to me. Like I have to see those to sometimes remember it, but then at the same time I know like it doesn't have to be just in this space. Like if I make the altar, it doesn't have to just be at the altar. Like I can do this at any point, any time, but it's just that visual reminder to like constantly engage with it.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I know one of the ways that I love, yes, going to events, going to powwows, going to gatherings, right? And there's been a lot of community events in the community again. So I just want to thank everyone who's doing all that great work for us, to bring us together, because it is. Um, I do danza, I'm a mexica danzante, and I love dancing with my kiddo. I used to dance with both my babies when they were my tummy and when we were babies, but I only have one that dances with me, and that's okay. But I'm able to be within community. I love to sing. I don't know if you all know this, but did you know that when we sing the same key and then we harmonize, our heartbeat link up? Yeah, we start to release all that oxytocin. So this is why when we sing, it's a little hard to do it on Zoom. If not, I would engage you all and be like, let's sing, right? Let's just do something like, right? And then all our heartbeats link up. And it gives us that sense of connection. One of the most human, basic, fundamental rights is the sense of connection and belonging. And this is beautiful when we're able to connect to our culture as a way of healing, right? Being able to utilize those tools like the smudging, going outdoors, reading a book, drinking water, because when we're good to ourselves, then we get to be good to others. And one of our most essential things is that we're all interconnected. We're all connected. We're all in relationship. We're in relationship to ourselves. When we're good to ourselves, we can be good to others. The nature is our biggest university that will give you your free university. Sit in nature. See how the water flows. See how the air, the trees, the things around you, how they blossom, how they also wilter. Those are all teachings that we get to have. And of course, our connection to the divine and creator, right? These are some things that we can do to bring ourselves into balance, that balance us. And when I'm talking about balance, I don't mean like, you know, like a scale. I'm talking about harmonizing, because we need all of the elements. We need all of these things to be working so we feel good about ourselves. So I invite you, and as you look through this video, thinking about how to connect to yourself, thinking about taking care of our basic needs so we can show up and receive, be intentional, think of ways to how to support our physical, to support our mental, our emotional, and our spirit, and just really to be good relatives to one another. Because one day we are going to be those elders, and we're going to be, right? Y'all are going to be doing great things. And then those little ones that are looking up to us, it's going to be their turn. And you all are going to be presenting these videos. So with that said, Latsukamati, thank you so much. I'm just wondering if you can just share what you will hold from our time together. And to our participants who are also here, if you would love to share in the chat what you will just hold, just something that you'll hold and take away and walk away with from our time together today.
I'll start. I'm definitely gonna look for the app you mentioned for the affirmations one. I am. Right. I'm gonna look for that. Thank you. I think I will definitely appreciate it and need it some days too. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I second that. That I actually wrote down the name of the app, but also I think what Kylee said, where having a visual reminder to take that time for yourself and have your medicines there. And for me, I am a really visual person, so it's a good way for me to constantly, be checking in and things like that. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
This was my reminder to go back to the basics with like do belly breathing, right? Like we breathe all day, every day, and we do it so unconsciously, but like to take a moment, really sit in the breath, and then also to like drinking my water. Like I know I said that a lot too, but it was like I actually haven't drank any water today, and I just thought about that. I was like, oh, let me go drink some water. So that's what I'm kind of taking away from today, going back to the basics, not having to be some big, huge, grand thing. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, take time to rest our mind. So with that being said, something as basic, right? Get your water bottle. If you have a water bottle, right? We can just hold it and just say thank you to the water and just take that good breath. Right? And just say thank you. Something very easy, right? That we can do. And it just tastes so much great. Tatsukamati, again, thank you to everyone. I hope this video brings you much joy and send you many blessings. And feel free to always reach out to us at Indigenous Circle of Wellness. We're here also to support you and support your wellness needs. So as through some of the participants and students, when you're enrolled through Native Ways to College, you're also eligible to get free mental health counseling. And what we're able to do is just kind of check in, right? If you just need that little reminder, just to kind of see how you're doing, just know that we're here for you. So again, thank you for everything.
Thank you so much. It was nice meeting you.
It was nice to meet you too. And I think you're still recording, Lucia.